This is from Good Morning America.
To the Idaho student murders case and potential new evidence against the suspect, his homework. Kana Whitworth joins us with the details. Good morning, Kana.
Yeah, Rebecca, good morning to you. So that new evidence is helping prosecutors hone in on the former PhD student's classwork, specifically his crime scene scenario final. But Brian Kohberger's lawyers say that early in his education, he was treated as a child with special needs. But now, with just a few months until trial, it's all under the microscope.
This morning, prosecutors in the Idaho college murders case saying Brian Kohberger's homework could play a crucial role in the trial. In a new filing, prosecutors say the alleged killer turned in what amounts to be a crime scene how-to guide as part of a homework assignment in 2020. Some of the details mirroring the Idaho college murder scene.
Prosecution is trying to make the argument that this information plays somewhat of a playbook for not leaving evidence behind a crime scene.
The 12-page crime scene scenario final from his time at DeSales University detailing how an investigating officer would process a scene where a deceased white female had been found, including the use of protective clothing to avoid contaminating the scene or leaving fingerprints. While Kohberger's lawyers say he is innocent and argue he has a developmental disability that prevents him from having the speed and coordination to carry out the murders, prosecutors point to purchases he made, including a balaclava, a type of ski mask that covers the head but not the eyes. They say he bought it in January of 2022. Prosecutors sharing this never-before-seen image drawn by the surviving roommate in the days after the murders, showing what they say.
That mic right there on the screen, drawn by Dylan Mortensen, is such a powerful piece of evidence because she's not saying I can identify this guy, but this is what he was wearing. The balaclava. There we go. There it is in looking at the actual real balaclava on the screen, the picture. But here's the drawing. And do we believe? Let's connect the dots.
Right.
The alleged killer is wearing a balaclava. And guess what? Brian Kohberger ordered one of them and bought one of them. Oh my God. Did someone make that up? Or is this actually powerful circumstantial evidence, Mike?
Billy, it's tremendously powerful because, she did actually even say, to her credit and the credit of the police, and we'd mentioned this before, it doesn't appear that they were trying to feed her with any sort of information. Like they were planning on setting him up months and months before they even knew who he was, about his eyebrows and describing him. She said the eyebrows and the mask on the 911 tape, on the 911 call, she's describing him as about 6 foot tall, slim build, athletic, with a mask on and bushy eyebrows. And behold, she's interviewed by the police. Now, so long as there's no evidence that they suggested like a balaclava or something like that, they said to her, what kind of mask are you talking about? Are you talking about one of the COVID masks, that like the surgical kind of masks? What? And she draws this. That's spontaneous. That is her spontaneous or present sense impression, however you want to say it. Is going to come in. That is what she had in her mind when she was able to articulate in a drawing what the masked man with the bushy eyebrows was wearing. That is a piece of gold for the prosecution. Amazingly coincidental, right? That he had bought a balaclava, and what she drew is pretty much balaclava.
100%.
Appears to be that kind of mask. She told authorities the man behind the mask that she saw in the house that night had bushy eyebrows. And another purchase in the spotlight, a K-bar knife and sheath bought on the Amazon account Kohberger used, similar to the knife and sheath seen in this image from the Amazon website. But the defense arguing that anyone from the suspect's family could have made the purchase from that Amazon account.
Well, prosecutors also say they can provide testimony from witnesses with knowledge that Kohberger is the one who purchased the knife. The murder weapon has never been found, and prosecutors also say that Kohberger searched Amazon for a replacement knife after the murders. The next hearing in this case is on April 9th.
So, that's, of course, the defense is claiming, it's a family account, right. Except the knife sheath with his DNA on it is found in the house where 4 people were murdered, except he tried to cancel or order a new a K-bar knife and a new replacement sheath searching, that is him. So that argument, it really goes out the window as far as I'm concerned. All of this evidence, again, we have the word circumstantial, for which inferences are drawn. Class, I'll call the guys that are listening to the show class, or subscribers, friends. Is it becoming more and more apparent that circumstantial evidence is pretty damn powerful, Mike?
Yeah, Bill, when you talk about the defense's ideas that, it was a shared account, okay, and so maybe Mr. Koberger or Mrs. Koberger bought that knife sheath, or then that sheet and the knife, and also perhaps even the balaclava. It doesn't matter who actually bought it. All it matters is, was it in the University of Washington dormitory room that he had in his possession on the night of the homicides? If that someone in that family had purchased it and they have one from that purchase in their home, that's one thing. If they have that knife that was purchased in March of 2022 in their home and they could produce it, that's great. However, they probably can't. And also, what was the name on the package? Because if Mrs. Koberger ordered the knife, there must be a record that it was sent to Mrs. Koberger at that address. So it's irrelevant, what the defense says. It's one of those little what they call
sort of misdirection. It's misdirection.
Thank you. Exactly. That's what it is. So look, poor Ann Taylor is trying her best, but every time she makes a motion to try to exclude evidence before the trial, it just shows how much better when the prosecution answers, it just shows how much better the case is than anybody ever previously knew. So it's sad, because I think really all she's doing right now is trying to save his life somehow with all the things she's doing, because she knows how damning all the evidence is.